Welcome to Southwest Desert, where adventure meets the arid beauty of the American Southwest. Join us as we explore the rugged landscapes, uncover hidden historical gems, and dive deep into the rich legends and culture of this iconic region. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on our latest desert adventures. Please leave a like or comment. This is very helpful. Let's journey together into the heart of the Southwest Desert. Picture this. You're dying of thirst in a scorching desert, your vision blurring. Your pack animals are collapsing in the sand. Then a lone buffalo appears. But this buffalo isn't salvation because of its meat. It's salvation because of what's sloshing in its belly. Within minutes, you're drinking warm, slimy water straight from the animal's stomach, and it tastes like liquid gold. This happened to William Becknell and his desperate traders in 1822, somewhere in the desert between Kansas and New Mexico. This moment of survival would help create one of America's most legendary trade routes, the Santa Fe Trail. Today, we're diving into how a failed horse trader from Missouri accidentally opened the gateway to the American Southwest, sparked a trade boom worth millions, and helped set the stage for westward expansion. Our story begins in summer 1821 with William Becknell, a Franklin, Missouri resident drowning in debt. So he did what desperate frontiermen did, decided to head west and see what fortune might bring. Becknell placed an ad in the Missouri Intelligencer, seeking companions to join him westward for trading horses and mules. 17 men took their chances. On September 1st, 1821, this ragtag band crossed the Missouri River toward the Arkansas River. Each man led a pack horse loaded with cheap trinkets for Indian trade: mirrors, bells, bright cloth, basic tools. But Becknell had picked the worst possible time. It was late trading season. Indians had already disposed of their stolen Spanish horses and were hunting elsewhere. For weeks, they trudged through Kansas without doing any business. By present-day La Junta, Colorado, their prospects looked grim. They'd traveled hundreds of miles without a single trade. Most sensible men would have headed home. But William Becknell wasn't most men. In a moment of either brilliance or desperation, he decided to head south into Spanish territory. Following an ancient Indian trail, Becknell's party climbed over Raton Pass and descended toward the Canadian River. They were now in enemy territory. The next morning brought one of those moments too perfect to be real. Mexican soldiers rode into view, and the Americans froze. Being caught in Spanish territory could mean imprisonment. Robert McKnight and his men had been thrown into Mexican dungeons for nearly a decade. But instead of drawing weapons, the Mexican soldiers smiled. Their leader rode forward with incredible news. Mexico had won independence from Spain. The Spanish governor was gone. American traders were now welcome in Santa Fe. The soldiers didn't just deliver this world-changing news, they begged Becknell to bring his goods to the territorial capital. After months of failure, William Becknell suddenly held the winning lottery ticket of the 19th century. On November 16, 1821, Becknell's party rode into Santa Fe and discovered riches beyond dreams. The cheap goods they'd brought for Indian trade were worth their weight in silver to Mexicans. Santa Fe's citizens had been cut off from manufactured goods for years. They were hungry for everything: cotton cloth, tools, needles, thread, buttons, trinkets. And they paid in Spanish silver dollars, real money that held value worldwide. The profit margins were extraordinary. When Fanny Marshall lent her brother $60 for his pack horse and trade goods, she received $900 as her share, 1,500% return in months. Most men decided to winter in Santa Fe, enjoying newfound wealth. But Becknell, sensing this opportunity wouldn't last forever, loaded his saddlebags with silver and raced back to Missouri. When they arrived in Franklin on January 2, 1822, word spread like wildfire. The Santa Fe Trail was born, and William Becknell had earned his place as its father. Becknell's 1822 expedition proved even more revolutionary. This time, 21 men departed with a secret weapon that would transform Western commerce: wagons. For the first time, wheeled vehicles rolled westward from Missouri, bound for Santa Fe. It was a massive gamble. Wagons were slower, more cumbersome, but could carry far more goods. But Becknell's most legendary achievement was yet to come. As his wagon train approached the Arkansas River, he faced a crucial decision. The established route led through Raton Pass, impossible for wagons. Indians had told him of the Cimarron River flowing south, providing a more direct route saving 100 miles. So Becknell made one of the most audacious decisions in American exploration. He ordered wagons across the Arkansas into unknown desert, guided only by pocket compass and hope. What followed was one of the most harrowing survival stories in frontier history. Men carried water only in personal canteens, perhaps a day's supply for what they hoped would be a direct crossing. But the river was farther than imagined, and the desert more brutal than nightmares. Heat waves shimmered like liquid fire. In sandy areas, wagon wheels cut deeply, exhausting mules. By evening of the first day, every canteen was empty and mules were collapsing from heat and thirst. Becknell drove the caravan through the night, navigating by North Star. By noon of the second day, the situation was desperate. The caravan barely crawled forward. Animals began falling and couldn't rise. Then the men did something that sounds like horror fiction. They began bleeding fallen animals and drinking their blood to stay alive. Just when it seemed the entire party would perish, salvation appeared. A lone buffalo came lumbering from the east, and experienced frontiersmen immediately recognized what this meant. The buffalo's belly was distended with water, his legs caked with fresh mud. This animal had recently drunk his fill, living proof that water existed nearby. The buffalo was shot immediately, and men fell upon the carcass. They drank slimy water from the animal's stomach, warm, foul-tasting liquid that meant life or death. Following the buffalo's tracks backward, they discovered within miles the bend of the Cimarron River they'd been seeking. Becknell's navigation had been amazingly accurate. With water reached, the worst was over. They had blazed what would become known as the Cimarron Cutoff, a route saving 100 miles but requiring crossing some of North America's most dangerous desert. The 1822 caravan's merchandise sold at enormous profits. Word spread like contagion. By 1824, 81 men traveled in a single caravan, carrying $35,000 worth of merchandise, including a small wheeled cannon for frightening Indians. Among traders were future household names: Marmaduke, who became Missouri governor, and Augustus Stores, appointed Santa Fe consul. When this caravan returned with over $180,000 in silver and gold, representing 400% profits, influential men rushed news to Senator Thomas Hart Benton in Washington. The fabulous profits created political sensation. Senator Benton, the most rabid expansionist in Congress, saw perfect excuse to push American boundaries westward. At his request, Stores prepared an official report describing the route as open, level, and free, with not a single hill of consequence. Conveniently, Stores failed to mention deadly water shortages. Benton proposed a bill for building a road from Missouri to the Mexican border. The legislation passed and was signed by President Monroe, carrying a $30,000 appropriation. But this was more political theater than practical infrastructure, establishing the Santa Fe Trail as a matter of national policy. By the late 1820s, extraordinary profits had attracted so much attention that the trail became increasingly dangerous. Early hunters had encouraged Indians to steal Spanish horses, trading entire herds for $10 worth of trinkets. But Indians learned it was easier to waylay American trading parties directly. Beaver trappers accompanying expeditions were ruthless frontiersmen who believed the only good Indian was a dead one. Their actions turned Cheyenne, Comanches, and Kiowas into deadly enemies. Violence reached crescendo in August 1828, when a returning caravan loaded with over $50,000 in Mexican silver was systematically destroyed by Comanche war parties. The attack began when two advance scouts, Daniel Monroe and McNeese, were murdered while sleeping beside a creek. When the main caravan reached the Cimarron River to bury Monroe, a small band of Comanches appeared across the water. Panicked white men opened fire immediately, killing all but one. The survivor carried word back, and soon hundreds of shrieking Comanche warriors circled the caravan. They stampeded and drove away almost the entire herd of 1,000 horses and mules. 2 weeks later, the 2nd Division, loaded with silver and driving 150 choice animals, was ambushed at the same location. Though traders fought their way out, they were harassed continuously until every animal was stolen. Cut off from water and facing death, 25 survivors abandoned their wagons and $50,000 in silver and began a desperate 400-mile walk to Missouri. When they finally staggered into independence, they were strung out over 50 miles, some blinded by starvation and fighting wolves with sticks. The 1828 massacres marked the beginning of the end for freewheeling early days. Demands for military protection led to federal troop assignments, though infantry soldiers were largely useless against mounted warriors. More significantly, the Mexican government imposed heavy import taxes that dramatically reduced profit margins. By 1829, traders making the spring journey dropped from 80 to just 20. But among those 20 were the Bent brothers, whose names would become legendary in the American West. The Santa Fe Trail that William Becknell had accidentally discovered had become something far greater than a trade route. It became the pathway by which American commerce, culture, and ultimately political control would extend into the Southwest. Join my Patreon community and discover my art print products on my website in the links provided in my description and link above. Also, if you would like a particular image from my videos, give the timestamp for image, and I will upload it to my website and Patreon. Thank you for joining your desert frontiersman Alan for another Southwest story. Check out my large catalog of Southwest videos and playlists on historical tales, legends, lost gold stories, and adult bedtime stories. If you like a certain image from my videos, tell me in comments and give timestamp. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more great content. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.